Yesterday, I didn't even know what a Pro Jared was or a James Charles. Now I desperately wish it was 2 days ago. Ugh. Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. I think Bethesda have got a huge problem. Yeah, quelle surprise. But no, seriously, I do think they have a huge problem. And I think that problem is they are rotting from the inside out. I think 7 odd months ago, 95+% of us probably wouldn't have had a bad word to say about Bethesda. I know I wouldn't have. To us, I think we would have just seen a company that really focused on making great games. Wonderful games like the Elder Scrolls series, Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, stellar titles. The Fallout series, just absolutely wonderful. Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, which was Obsidian, but obviously still came under the Bethesda banner, but it was made by Obsidian. And then Fallout 4, which admittedly was a little bit more divisive, but, you know, these were vast games, huge games, which gave people lots and lots to do. There's always going to be problems here and there. But you felt as if their heart was in the right place and they were committed to just making great games for their customer base. And I actually had Bethesda as the best company at E3 2018. Or was it 2017? No, 2018. I thought they put on the best presentation. It was cringy, sure. It felt at times like there was literally a midlife crisis going on stage. But hey, you know, it did feel genuine and it felt as if it was coming from a place, you know, a true place. And for all the things which made us kind of go, ooh, like, ooh, what's Fallout 76 going to turn out to be like? Ooh, a mobile Elder Scrolls game. We had things like, hey, Starfield is being worked on. It's coming. And guess what? The Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah, it's in development. It's going to be a long time away. But yes, it is coming eventually. So there were great things for us to get excited about. Then Fallout 76 came out. And everything turned on its head. We saw exactly what Fallout 76 was, which was essentially Bethesda's attempt to just force themselves into the live service business. Which meant they just wanted a platform to sell you digital crap, microtransactions. And the game showed that. It was broken. It was empty. There was nothing to do. It had no direction. It was poorly put together. It showed the sloppiness that it hadn't been thought out one bit. They were still running with menus of a single player game in an online world that didn't work. But, you know, we had all the other controversies, the canvas bag, the rum, all of that. But the worst thing to me was the lack of responsibility taken by Bethesda. The lack of acknowledgement of the severe issues and the rush job of this game. And also the silence from Pete Hines and Todd Howard about this whole situation. And the longer they were silent, the more cowardly they appeared, and the more telling it was that the reason why they were silent is because they knew exactly what the story was. And so when Todd Howard did break his silence months and months later, 6 odd months later, he decided to lie. And that summed everything up. Instead of coming out, admitting fault, although it would have been belated, it still would have been nice to see. Instead of apologising to the community, no, double down, lie. Fallout 76, millions of people playing it. Great game. And it was sad. It was sad to see that this is how little respect they had for their customer base. So, with that said, I want to refer you to this article. This is by Paul Tassi at Forbes. Linked in the description box down below. Go check it out in its entirety. And the title, because that's really what I'm going to deal with. I'm just going to very quickly paraphrase the article itself. But the title, if you don't know, Bethesda's Rage 2 is coming out in 4 days. I wouldn't blame you. And I got to say, I think Paul's absolutely right. If you pinned me up to a wall yesterday, ladies, and said, tell me the release date for Rage 2, I'd be like, soon? The end of the month? Beginning of June? I honestly don't know. Hand on heart, I honestly wouldn't have been able to tell you the exact release date. And that just made me think, yeah, the marketing behind this game has been really poor. And that's essentially what Paul says. He actually talks about how he's looking forward to the game, how he thinks it looks good, but he hasn't heard a thing. You know, it's been so quiet on the marketing front, he didn't know the exact date that it came out. And he's absolutely spot on. And when you're in a window when there's a lot of talk about other titles, you know, the year started off with the unbelievably great Resident Evil 2 remake, and then you had the whole Anthem debacle, Jesus Christ, which got people chattering and chattering and chattering. And then you had Sekiro, which came out to great critical response. And then you had recently Days Gone, which critics were split on, but has sold very, very well indeed. You want to make sure that when all this is going on, that there's absolutely no doubt when your product is coming out, particularly if you want it to be a great success. So yeah, I do agree. I don't think there's any shade here. I do agree that I think it's been poorly marketed, because I hadn't got a clue when it was actually out. Now then, he goes and tweets out his article. You know, this is what we all do. I tweet out my videos. And guess what happens? Correct. Bethesda on their Rage 2 Twitter account decide to respond to Paul. Now, before we look at the response, let me ask you a question. How would you personally respond to this if you were the person in head of the social media account for Rage 2? How would you respond to this? Right? Now, I spent a lot of years before I got into YouTube, a lot of years in sales and marketing. So off the top of my head, bearing in mind, I haven't been thinking about this for, 10, 15, 20 minutes or so. Just off the top of my head, what would I personally do? Well, the very first thing that I would do is make sure I put the release date in the response. Okay? So there's absolutely no doubt whatsoever when it's coming out. Number 2, I would probably maybe do a little joke or just engage Paul a wee bit in conversation. And then number 3, I would engage the customer base, the potential customer base for this product. So my personal response would be something like, hey, Paul, don't forget, it is the 14th of May that this comes out. Really looking forward to your review of the game when you grab a hold of a copy. And then, because we think this is a wonderful title that people are going to really enjoy. Something along those lines. So you immediately hit the release date. You play to Paul as a games journo. You say, looking forward to a review, showing confidence in your product. And then you're hitting the target audience by saying, because we think it's great. So you're hyping it up a little bit as well. As somebody that's been involved in sales and marketing, I would do something along those lines. Bearing in mind, brain farting off the top of my head. So, how do you think they actually did respond? Well, they responded with this. Lol, who even are you? This is pathetic. Right. I've got no huge love for games journos. I think Paul's actually a decent one, to be perfectly honest with you. But Paul Tassi, he works for Forbes. He's a known journalist. They know who he is. This comes across as childish, pathetic, and more importantly, insincere. Because they do know who this person is. So you could say, but look, they got 3,500 likes for that response. Paul only got 1,100 likes for his tweet. So, people are just like, yeah, we're on Rage 2 side. No. This is just social media. Somebody does something, somebody does a soundbite, Pavlovian response. That's social media. This doesn't mean it's 3,500 sales. That's not how it translates to at all. In actual fact, I reckon the vast majority of normal people would see a response like this and be like, oh dear. It's classless. Just a classless response. And there's a little exchange which happens below. And I don't want you to contact any of the people involved in this exchange. I've got nothing critical to say about them. I just think it actually shows how this would play out in normality. Not on social media buzzes, how it would actually play out in reality. And Paul responds by saying to their, lol, who even are you? Someone confused about a weirdly personal drag from a video game I'm looking forward to. But sure, I guess this is on brand. So he has a little bit of a stab back, which, by the way, gets 3,400. So pretty much the same response as that. Because what he's saying is, I'm just somebody who was trying to establish when this game was coming out because I don't think it's been particularly well marketed. And your response to that is to attack me because that's what Bethesda does. Because Bethesda has shown with Fallout 76, with Elder Scrolls Blades, they have no respect for their audience. They just want your money. That is it. And so this is how the situation plays out. This chap here, LZ, he says, lol, rage game be like, and he's got a picture of Thanos with the line of, I don't even know who you are. Oh, shade sister. But this chap responds to him by saying, we all know what happens after that scene, though. Now, no spoilers, but, villain, heroes beat villains in films. That's the way it happens. And LZ responds with, touche. This is how it would play out in reality, right? This is the social media response here. This is the normal person response. And then this is the person who, on social media, who actually just thinks about it for a little bit. Oh, lol, they burned this guy. And then the normal person says, yeah, but look, if this is the way that a company speaks to a known journalist, what do you think they think about you as a faceless customer? Less than this. Less than this. They wouldn't even respond to somebody like you. You are meaningless to them. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if that's the way they speak to... Yeah, I get it. That's the normality of it. Now, if I was running a company and I had somebody on my social media team and they posted something like this out, which would potentially jeopardize sales, I mean, they would be gone. Gone in a heartbeat. But this is where Bethesda's rotten to the core, because you just have to look at the higher-ups. You just have to look at the heads of the company. Pete Hines, Todd Howard. Cowards who remain silent on the whole Fallout 76, the whole canvas bag, the whole banning system, the whole ROM. Everything remains silent on it all. And then Todd Howard, 6 months later, when he decides to break his silence, double down with the lies. It just shows when the higher-ups of the company have zero respect for their audience, when they don't care one bit about their potential customer base and their existing customer base because they just want to grab your cash, this is what happens. It filters down. It filters all the way down, and then what you're left with is a company that is rotten to the core. Bethesda have a huge problem. It's rotten. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links, they're in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.